I'd like to take a second to thank the folks from Jinko Fishing for not only bringing you Low Budget Live, but bringing you lowlifers sweet deals at jinkofishing.com. Just by using code LBL25, you will save 25% off of everything at jinkofishing.com, like their rods, their baits. They've got a little bit of everything for every season. They've even got crappie goodness on there. jinkofishing.com, LBL25 lets them know you are a lowlifer. Express boats hang the daggum banner, that Bassmaster Classic winning all welded aluminum bass snatching machine, 96-inch beam, and that X21 Pro, fastest hole shot in the game. More tackle storage than you can shake a stick at. Go to your local dealer, check one out for yourself. Maybe a 21 won't fit in your garage, or maybe it don't fit your budget. That's okay. Check out the X19, the H20, the H18, the H17. Maybe you need a bay boat. Express Boats has a boat for every budget and every style that you might be into. Maybe you're a hunter, get you a duck boat. Maybe you're into catching them redfish. They got you hooked up there. Express Boats, building excitement since 1966. Damn them. It happens every night. Every old night. And I ain't never met a riverboat dealer that could ever be a friend of mine. Nope. The summer heat never treats me kind. It leaves trouble on my mind. So I'm bidding farewell, putting in my notice, and I'll see you at another time. Sing. This highway does not know my name, and I don't care. No, I don't care. I don't care. Not even kind of. Heading my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires and a spare. Just a wide line. Gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there. Low budget live, the not so live variety presented by Jinko Fishing from the Low Budget Live Bar and Grill here in beautiful southern, windy, maybe a little cold today, Middle Tennessee. And welcome. This is the podcast for Monday, April the 14th, and I hope all you low lifers are doing well out there, and some of you buzzards that are roaming around, I hope y'all are doing good too. I hope this is a safe space for the low lifers and the buzzards to combine and all come together to just enjoy some conversation. So hopefully all y'all are doing well out there. Something hit me today. I went fishing for a little bit, and I'm recording this a couple days early because I got a lot going on. Mainly it's turkey season this weekend, and was out there on the lake, and wind was just gassing, man. Every time that I've gone fishing this year, I feel like, and the tournaments I've worked as well, it's just been just the windiest spring that I can remember in a really long time, especially for April. I feel like we don't get a lot of big winds here in April. Now, March, I'll give you March. April, normally by mid-April, it's gone. And today, man, I was just getting blown around and just stupid. And right down the gut, couldn't really get out of it anywhere. And I caught myself kind of getting pissy. I'm not going to lie. Like, it was ticking me off. And I was just like, stupid wind. And was reeling back a swim bait. And I had like a 5-pounder, try to get it right at the trolling motor. And just barely got it. And I stuck it and it rolled over. But I wasn't paying attention. I was just mentally not there. And I thought, you know what? You ought to stop whining and start winding. So there you go. Stop whining and start winding. Because if I'd have been just winding my swim bait and focused on what I was doing, I'd have caught me about a 5-pounder. And that would have made the day a lot better. But instead, I was in my head. I was ticked off about the wind, and fishing is fun. Now, we can all agree some days are a little less fun. Today was one of them. But if I'd have just not been whining and I'd been winding, I'd have been in good shape. So stop whining and start winding. That's your PSA today from the one and only Low Budget Live right there. Busy week ahead. And pulling some double duty. We got an NPFL and an Alabama Bass Trail this week, and I'm going to be all over the dadgum place. But NPFL up first, Lake Norman. If you have not checked us out yet, this is your opportunity this week. They are going to catch the snot out of them at Lake Norman. I just got a feeling Lake Norman is full of bass. You know, probably not going to see any 35-pound bags like out there at Clear Lake in that one Bass Open that's absolutely going off right now. But I promise you, you're going to see a lot of fish get caught. That is for sure. We got a lot of fantastic locals that are, you know, just cream of the crop pros in their own right that have joined in. You know, the Hank Cherry, Shane LaHue, Shane Linebergers, David Williams, KJ Queens, Tater Hogg himself, Matt McBee, and a host of other people that have experience on Lake Norman. I think this is going to really, really be a good one this week. We are going to, it's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday tournament. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Got an Easter weekend coming up, so it's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday tournament. There's no off day for the pros this week. And we will broadcast on Thursday the 17th and Friday the 18th, the last 2 days of the event. We always start broadcasting after the standings have been established, and we go out off of those standings, and we go with the top 5 on day 2 and the top 5 going into finale Friday there. All right. So you can tune in on TNPFL's website, tnpfl.com, or the YouTube channel, National Professional Fishing League. It'll be myself and my dude, Fat Cat Newton, calling balls and strikes there, man. Appreciate everybody that hung with us at Santee Cooper. Fingers crossed that the cell phone service and everything's a little bit better at Lake Norman. I sure believe it will be. So I will be on site. So will Fat Cat, and we'll see you there. I'll be hanging around the weigh-ins at least the first couple days. I'm going to have to leave on Friday, most likely the second we're done with live, and start my journey to Gadsden, Alabama for the Alabama Bass Trail, stop number 3 in the ABT North. So probably going to get my wires crossed. I'm probably going to call folks in the ABT, NPFL stuff, and NPFL. I'll have sponsors mixed up. This brain of mine is not set up to pull double duty in the same week with 2 different tournament trails, but here we are. We are going to try it this week. So looking forward to it. It's going to be a little wild, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. Somebody that looks like, and again, I'm recording this early before this event ends, but somebody that looks like they're going to be a little late getting to Lake Norman might be old Kyle Welcher, our Progressive Angler of the Year in the NPFL from last season, 2024. Might be a little late. He is putting on a dang clinic on the Pashtamatonka River out there, the Albemarle Sound. That place, it's been a little fickle. Horrible weather for the guys, though, and been rough getting around. Everybody I've talked to, it's just a little bumpy, to say the least, for all the elite guys this week, and not exactly the easiest fishery to figure out. The weights were a little lower than I really thought they would be, and I think that most of the anglers going into it thought that they would be, based on the time of year, based on things that, you know, we saw with Bass Pro Tour last year, and they were on a different section, totally different area. They weren't allowed in this same area, but at least way I understand it, that was not the case. But little bit off the mark from what they thought, I think, weight wise. But post cold front, big winds, blowing water out of areas. You know, a tidal fishery is real susceptible to different winds and things. So they've definitely had a challenging playing field. But what a great tournament! I love when they go to new bodies of water, just like so many fans do. And it's been a lot of fun to watch so far. Still some time left in that one, though, as I record this today. So I have no clue. Y'all will know when you're listening to this who won. I will not, as obviously, as I record this. But Kyle Welcher is lapping the field right now. I do know that. Last check. It's pretty wild what Kyle's doing. All right. So really looking forward to this guest today. So he just won his third, so crazy saying that, third REDCREST championship. His third. 2 back-to-back. I don't feel like enough people are talking about this. He's won almost $1 million in 3 events in the state of Alabama. absolute fish catcher everywhere he goes. He has been doing the pro fishing thing since 2017 when he won the Bassmaster Elite Series Angler of the Year, long before the cheater box was even a thing. He has since won over $2 million in career earnings. Put that in the bank. He is absolute terror to deal with, especially in the state of Alabama. State of Alabama, he's got 4 wins with Major League Fishing in the state of Alabama. He's got a ton of wins regionally speaking and in local events over the years leading up to that. But the dude is absolutely a problem. And we're going to talk to him right now. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2025 REDCREST champion on the king of them all, Lake Guntersville, Dustin Connell. All right, as promised, here he is. And I'm going to call him Damn DC. You know, right there, the wing wall warrior, I think Wesley Strader called him. But Dustin Connell, man, have you spent all the money? Are you still counting your money? I mean, you've won nearly $1 million in 3 tournaments in the state of Alabama at this point. So this is getting ridiculous.
I'm trying to catch up on sleep, dude. I'm still pretty tired. So right when I got off the water, we came home and my son's birthday was 2 days ago. And I'm back on daddy duty. I'm taking him to swim lessons today. And then we're having a birthday party for him on Saturday. I'm out here about to clean this backyard up. But yeah, man, God, what a crazy week. Those long runs, and I know we're going to talk about all of it, but
yeah, man.
Yeah, it's set in, man. What a cool tournament.
And I think the coolest part about it for me, and I'm sure this is what you mean by that, is nobody thinks Guntersville smallmouth. Nobody thinks, man, them boys ain't gonna. They're going to wear them out, chatterbaiting and sight fishing and fishing the grass or scoping or whatever, right? And man, it just, as the week went on, it just set up right. And I told you before we hit record that last morning I hadn't got to watch live a ton, and I pulled it up after the weather delay, and you're making that run. I said, uh-oh. I'm a river rat. I grew up with my dad fishing that concrete all over the place. I love it. I'm drawn to that concrete. And I saw that and I went, these conditions, uh-oh. Now, did you go, because I think you had a slower day one, right? Day one, you were kind of off the pace a little bit. And then day 2, you jumped right in the mix.
So here's what happened on day 1. So we posted a YouTube video and kind of showed, sorry, I'm going to scoot up. This sun's kind of leaning back there. All right, so crazy thing about day 1. So day 1, I'm running up the way, and we went lines in like at South Saudi probably, and I'm chopping, and I was going back and forth where I needed to go on up there or not, because I'm gonna be honest, it's a little intimidating making a 70-mile run, because when you get there, you're locked in, bud.
That's it. Yeah.
And I didn't know what the weights were going to be. I didn't know if it was going to be 75 pounds to make the cut or 120. I mean, we are on freaking G-Bill.
Yeah, that's right.
And I don't know what the cut weight is going to be, because I hear guys that are like, oh, they're going to smash them. And then I hear guys like, I don't know about it. So I'm chopping up. And I'd caught a few fish on some isolated stumps, using active target. And, you always got to check that to make sure it ain't popping, especially if you're good at doing it. I feel like I'm good at using that stuff. And I didn't really want to do that, but I was like, let me just make sure I didn't miss the boat on anything. Because you got to understand, there's fish moving in, moving out. Everybody's waiting on them. Everybody's like, is a big wave going to show up? So I'm like, let me just stop in. I stopped in at South Saudi on the same community places a lot of people fish. I caught a couple small ones, caught one scoreable, and then I ran over to Mink Creek, and it was trash. Caught me 4 or 5 small ones. Before I know it, 2.5 hours is up. And dude, I'm in like 47th or 50th or something. I'm in 63rd, and there's 50 boats in the tournament. I said, I'm gone. I said, bye. So I had a cameraman, and that was another thing. They put a camera in my boat on day one, and I'm like, dude, I don't want to run all the way up there with 3 guys. It's going to take forever, and just trying to bump around and move. You know, you got a lot of people in the boat. It just slows you way down. And I was like, eh. So anyway, long story short, after that first period, I told him, I said, hey, come get Phil, my camera guy. I said, y'all come get him. I'm gone. And I told my official, I said, bat and hatches, buddy, we're going. And I chopped it, buddy. I speared a wave up there. The wind was blowing 25 out of the south. The current's blowing. It took me so long to get up there.
And they're just stacked. Them waves are stacked, son.
Oh, it's terrible. When I rolled around BB Comer and I hit that straightaway up near mud and all that, I was like, oh, God. Dude, I'm running past treetops on the bank trying to get out of them waves. And it took me so long to get up there. And keep in mind, we're lines in, so guys are catching them as I'm running.
Yeah.
So anyway, I get up there. Long story short, I get up there, I catch some, bump around, and then I finally make it up to the dam, and I catch a 5, and I catch 3 or 4 more. I have like 25 pounds. I'm 10 or 12 pounds out of the cut. And dude, I'm mad. I'm shooting myself in the foot. I'm like, why didn't I come up here earlier? So that was day one.
So you did end up, I didn't know how it all played out. So so you did end up going every day and making that run. I've made the run. So I one time I ran from right there, Gunnersville Harbor, whatever they call it now, where Big Mike's Steakhouse is. There was a BFL fished over there in the fall, and I caught him up the river. And you're right. When you're up there, you're up there. And I didn't catch him at the dam because we couldn't go into Tennessee waters in that particular tournament. But I ran all the way up there, and I caught him pretty good. But it's a long way, son. It's
dude, when you get to North Saudi, you still got 40 miles.
Yeah, you feel like you've gone a long ways and you haven't at all.
This is a monster run, and I'm just telling you, you're checking. You're like, I don't know about it. About 3/4 of the way up there, you're like, dude, we're real far away.
Yeah. And like you said, when you're up there, it ain't like there's a bunch of creeks. It ain't like there's a bunch of other stuff you can go do. You're there. That's all you can do is be there and do that deal.
Yep. So, but yeah, after that, so I fully committed after that day one. I said, man, I'm fishing this tournament up this forever, point blank period. And I said, I'm running up here every day. And then the second day, I caught 56 pounds or something. And then it started kind of developing. I was like, all right, let me start learning some more stuff. I had a little time to practice that day, and I said, okay. And then I went back up there, and then, championship day, it went down. But
so on the knockout round, when you're there, I mean, did you have a feeling when you're in that top 9 that you could win just because of the quality and numbers you're around, or were you still kind of like it's a wait and see? Were you that confident going into the final day?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. What happened was an everyday change. So I went up there, and I've never seen a dam like this, which I fished below Wheeler. I fished below Pickwick Dam. I mean, I fished below a lot of these dams on Tennessee River, and it's so unique. These are the best dams in the world. I've always said that. Below Wheeler Dam is stupid good. And what was crazy, what I noticed was the first day of the tournament, it was all largemouth. The second day of the tournament, I roll up there, it was mostly largemouth. The knockout round, I go up there, it was cloudy that morning. And, dude, I'm zipping 3 to 3.5 pound spotted bass like crazy. And I'm like, where'd y'all come from? I never caught a brown fish, a smallmouth up there the first 3 days, unless I was on the bank. The smallmouth were spawning. Mm-hmm. It was kind of spotty here and there. You catch one here, catch one there. But that third day, it was cloudy, and I figured out that they were biting that mooch minnow. And on the second day, I ran up there. My first cast on a mooch minnow, I caught a 3.5 pound spotted bass, and I'm like, dude, they're freaking chewing. And I caught them really good on that bait, and then it slowed down when the sun got up. Well, anyway, I knew that I was like, dude, there's way more bass up here than what I thought. And then on the way back, I checked the weather, and they said, "Oh, it's going to be nasty tomorrow." And I checked the weather, and I went, "Oh God, it could happen." And yeah, I was excited for that championship day.
Okay, so I just wondered because I mean they were catching, I mean keeping pace with down the lake wasn't easy. You know, I mean them boys were putting up numbers, and you know, like I do, Gunnersville in the last, we'll call it 2 years, is back beyond belief, and there's more 3 to 5 pounders in that joker than anywhere else in the country, maybe right now, and they like to bite. It seems like, I mean, it's crazy. So I just, I wanted to ask you that because it is so unique up there, and it's a little bit of an unknown, you know, to a lot of fans, especially because they don't fish that way. What is it that attracts you? Because I know on the Coosa, you're an expert in the tail races. What attracts you to those areas?
I'll be honest with you. I grew up fishing that way. So I grew up below Lay Dam on Lake Mitchell. I grew up fishing Logan Martin Dam at the upper end of Lay. I grew up fishing these dams. And I've always kind of said this. So, like, I fished Lay Lake my whole life. Dude, it is so hard to do something different. I mean, dude, I've swam a jig on every grass mat on Lay Lake. I can tell you where every piece of dollar grass is, and I've caught 4 and 5 pounders, and it's so fun.
Yep.
But when you put a 100-boat tournament out there, like we used to have the Marks Outdoors tournaments, and they used to have freaking 400 boats. Me swimming a jig, I cannot swim nowadays. Now, back in the day where, you know, you Tim Hatchers and all, you Chris Deal.
Yeah, golly.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and when they were doing it, it wasn't a big time deal, and they had an advantage because they knew how to do it and they knew where to go do it, and it was a secret. Well, now there ain't no secrets. Every 12-year-old out there can pump a jig the same way I can, and I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm like, So I just figured out, like, hey, if I can do something different and go up here and then maybe catch a mixed bag, then we might have a chance to win. But I went into Gunnersville thinking the same thing. I know that I cannot sight fish better than Bobby Lane. I just know I can't. I know I can't drag better than Mark Davis. Mark Davis, son, I'm telling you, he probably drug every stump flat on that lake. I don't fish like that. I can't. I mean, my personality just won't let me. And I don't mind doing the scoping deal, but man, that tournament was not going to get one scoping. There was no way.
Yeah.
Too much pollen, too much wind. The fish are on the bank. It's just not going to play. And I told my wife, I said, I'm going to do something real bold. She said, are you sure? I said, yeah, I'm about to risk it. I'm literally in Biloxi. I'm hitting on a 19 because this is the only way to win. And I went up there, and that was the biggest key. I know down the lake is phenomenal, but if you could tap into that and get away from everybody and can maybe catch pre-spawners, you have a smallmouth factor, spotted bass, and largemouth. That was what my mindset was.
Well, obviously it played out to perfection, but there was an East Tennessee wild man that was kind of doing the same. Now he wasn't up there with you, but he was working a little bit of a smallmouth program too that was unique. And I was keeping up with, me and my boy had been turkey hunting, and I was watching the score tracker when we'd get service, and I'm like, DC's blowing this thing out. Well, then we got back home, and I looked and I said, hang on now, what's happening? And all of a sudden Wes had kind of climbed up there. And so we watched the last hour and a half, and dude, I mean, he got within, I believe, 8 or 9 pounds there. But in this format, what's going through your mind is you're getting the Wesley Strader updates, because that's the wildest thing about y'all's format to me, is that you get told every time somebody catches one, basically.
So I'll just start off by saying this. I did not want 15 more minutes of Wesley. I'm just telling you I didn't. And so I did not know this. I had no clue. Wesley told me at the boat ramp after the tournament that he had spent a lot of time up there, and he really knew a lot of areas, and he had a really solid game plan. And I'm running up, and I knew Wesley was fishing up there, but I'm running up, and he was behind me. He went out behind me, and I look back, and I see his boat. He's chopping. He's probably half a mile back, but I knew he's coming. Well, anyway, I look back, and I don't see Wesley no more. And I'm like, where'd he peel off at? I did not know this, but he slid into a largemouth place, and he caught like 40 pounds of largemouth. And I'm like, I did not know at that time. I just figured he was catching smallmouth or whatever. Well, anyway, he goes up, and I knew he was catching some fish on some spawning banks and whatnot. But Wesley told me, and I think he said in that interview, he said, dude, 6 months ago, he said, I'm just telling you, I could feel that trophy. He said, I knew it was going to happen. I just knew it. And he said, I did not know you were going to be there, though. And I laughed, and I'm like, dude, I felt the same way 6 months ago, but I didn't know anybody even knew anything about that place. Hell, I didn't know nothing about it.
Yeah.
And I did not know the smallmouth that lived up there. It is unreal how good it is.
Yeah, and once you get close to those Tennessee waters, you're only allowed to keep one per guy, right? Over 18 inches in tournaments. So they don't get fished for that much in tournaments and hauled around. So there's a bunch of them for sure.
I know. I hate that place got exposed up there. Yeah. I really do. And I'm like, dadgummit, I'm sure there's people catching brownies right now up there, but
guarantee it.
Yeah, Wesley had a phenomenal tournament, man. He's super nice guy. I've always liked Wesley, and the weather panned out for me. I don't think I'd have won that tournament if it had been sunny. I don't think it happened, but the weather played into my favor.
Well, and I think with your format though, starting over in every round, and you do get to fish a different tournament almost every day, and man, you just played it strategy wise and perfection.
Yeah, that's the thing, and you got. I don't even want to go on a negative train because I've been on a positive train lately. But
yeah,
you got a lot of guys that are like, oh, he just went up there and caught a bunch of numbers. Like, no, we caught some big ones. Wesley caught big ones.
Yeah,
25 pounds worth.
Yeah,
and but yeah, I knew that he was 8 pounds back, and I'm like, dude, he's 2 4-pound smallmouth spawning bites away, and it can happen quick. Bop bop.
Yep.
And I was so stressed out, and everybody asked me, when you think you won that tournament? I'm like, dude, until it got about 3 minutes till, I was stressing.
I felt like, knowing you, I know you a little bit, and I felt like your demeanor did change a little bit on live. I thought, he's sweating this right now. But I kept waiting on you to swing too. Like those last 10 minutes got slow for you, 15 got slow for you. And I thought because every time Wesley would kind of keep pace, you were like, there's another one. Like you were just putting it that much further ahead of him. And then all of a sudden there was a lull.
Them drum came in that wall, dude, and they made me mad. I'd set the hook and it'd be a big ugly drum, and I'm like, God. And I said this the first period, after the first period break, I said, there will come a time in this day that I have to make something else work. And I just stayed steady, and the weather prolonged that bite. And I was almost about to pull the trigger about 45 minutes to an hour before the end. I had 2 stretches down the way that had some spawning smallmouth and just a lot of fish on them. And I was throwing a Maverick on them, a jerkbait, and I was catching some dang big smallmouth doing that. But it was like 5 or 6 miles down. And I'm like, all right, by the time I run down there, there's probably going to be a local boat on this, and then they ain't going to be biting. And then there was mud flowing out of these creeks, and I'm like, mud's going to be flowing. I said, I need to just stay. This got me here. Let's just ride this to the end.
And you did. Let me ask you this, man. You seemed like you were more emotional. I think you actually said that. What's the time ended that you were more emotional in this one than the other two? Why was that?
I said during that interview afterwards, but this one meant so much more to me because it was during COVID. It was kind of a weird time.
Yeah, it was a weird one.
It was weird. And then Lay Lake, I go into that tournament. I put so much pressure on myself on Lay Lake dude, I literally put so much pressure on myself because it's my home lake. Like, you're supposed to do good in that one. And it turned out great, man. And I love that tournament. And it was the best ever. But this one was one I feel like Gunnersville, it's such a world famous lake. And it's such an intimidating lake. And like just to pull that off the way it did in those long runs, that's a lot of time thinking.
Yeah.
An hour and 15 minutes up there crashing through them waves and just being able to pull it off sitting below a dam how I grew up was such an epic feeling. I was just like, I cannot believe this happened. And I was shook up so bad, dude. Golly, I was.
Well, you had me shook up in my living room. My wife, she's teary eyed. She's like, I don't even know Dustin, and this is awesome. He was tore up. I said, and again, you know, we've known Wesley for a long, long time, and love Wesley to death. But it's, for me, it's so weird in the sport. Like, I know so many of y'all over the years that I know what it means for everybody, right, to win and to do good. And so it's hard for me to pull for one guy versus another. It wasn't like I was upset that Wes didn't win, because I know what it means to you too, even though it was your third one, which is insane.
Yeah.
So insane. But man, you got off to a little bit, and I believe you mentioned this too, a little bit of a rocky start to the season so far. That's very un-BC like. And so
it is, and I'll be honest,
back is important.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. So like, there's a lot of things that happen on the water, and they're not. I don't feel like these are excuses. This is just reality. So like, it has been an adjustment. It has. It's been an adjustment for trying to strategize.
Yep.
And you know, I get this a lot from a lot of people. Even my family members have said this. Man, you didn't just cut them electronics off and just go old school. And like, you think that that's it, but it's absolutely the opposite.
Yeah.
So like, if you look back, Conroe, the tournament, 80% of the bass were caught using active target or live scope forward facing. I mean, Justin Cooper, he won the tournament, but he had a phenomenal first period.
Yep.
And that tournament was forward facing sonar heavy. So if you put a majority of your time in that, and you know that it's a forward facing sonar heavy tournament, it's winter time. Suspended fish are going to play. And I feel like I mixed in that tournament. You know, I did good. I finished 13th. But like, Florida, if you wasn't on a Popka, you wasn't catching crap, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, that tournament was tough. I was on Dora. I went to Griffin, and I think there was two guys that was on all the other lakes, and everybody else was on a Popka. So it was just unfortunate. And shout out to the guys who went. They crushed them. It was an awesome tournament. But Murray really put a sour taste in my mouth, because I looked really hard for a good bite using my electronics, and I never found it. And if you didn't catch them there doing that, you were getting let down, because it was tough fishing. So I came off 2 bad tournaments. And, dude, that really hit you bad, man. And then there's people in your comments, and I'm sure, and I've mentioned, there's people lighting it up. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, these guys do know that I'm 35. I do remember playing a Nintendo. Like, I'm not, like, I got my first iPhone, like, when I was, like, 21 years old. Like, I'm not, like, a spring chicken. Hell, I've been out here throwing shaky heads and dragging Carolina rigs, like, in –
the folks at Gill Fishing make some of the finest outdoor gear in the industry to keep you dry when it's raining, to make those summer days more tolerable, and to make those winter days a little bit warmer. GillFishing.com is where you can find all things Gill Fishing, and LBL20 is the code they've given you low-lifers to save money. Go check out those Apex rain suits, the Fitzroy jacket, sun gloves, sun shirts. It's all available at GillFishing.com. Pro Guy Batteries, ProGuyBatteries.com. Those folks have been in the battery game for over 40 years. They are trusted by multiple OEM boat manufacturers, and that has a hard stamp of approval to get. They are not a fly-by-night battery company like so many we see these days. They've got everything from lead acid to AGM to all your lithium needs, and they've even got chargers. LBL10 is the code to save you money at ProGuyBatteries.com, and let them know you are a low-lifer. Baitworks.com, bait-wrx.com, the exclusive online home of this little critter right here, the LOB Power Finesse Jig. 3-aught custom trocar hook, finer than frog hair skirt material, and 8 custom colors. Check it out there. But while you're on the site, check out everything else Baitworks has to offer and use code Duncan-10, DUNKIN-10 at bait-wrx.com. That's bait-works.com. Duncan-10 saves you money. Don't order it if you don't want it. They're going to have it on your doorstep. And last but not least, nothing drives you crazier than pulling a boat around the country and trying to find adequate lodging. I cannot help you most places, but if you are coming to Counce, Tennessee, that lower end of Pickwick Lake Lodge is now open for business. Designed by bass fishermen for bass fishermen. They've got covered parking with security cameras to watch your boat. No junk going on around Pickwick Lake Lodge. Trust me, it's a fantastic place to stay. 1.5 miles away from Pickwick Lake State Park, where all the tournaments go out of over there. PickwickLakeLodge.com. Now let's run our mouth.
Freaking 1998.
That's right.
So it's like, God dang, but they don't care about that.
They don't.
They're gonna kick you when you're down, bud.
Well, I don't even think it's about kicking you when you're down. I think it's about that weird narrative that we're hung up on. I say we, that so many fishing fans are hung up on and against. And I've talked about it on the show who I think's leading the charge on that. And we all know who that is. And it's like,
everybody's so polarized.
Oh, it's weird. So it's worse than, and I was outspoken, obviously, in the beginning of the split and all that, and was in the middle of all that. Dude, it's worse. It's 1,000 times worse than that ever was.
It's weird, and I'm probably gonna get, God dang, I should not say this, but I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it.
Say it.
Oh gosh, should I say this or should I not? I'm gonna say it. So I feel like there's such a stigma. It's like a derangement syndrome. Like it's like they're so obsessed with it that it's so bad. And I'm like, dude, we get to use it one period and then we go fishing. So 2/3 of your whole season, you don't even have to use it. And I'm just like, can we move along to another subject? Can we move along to tariffs? Can we talk?
Damn, now you really gonna get us killed.
Can we talk about something else? I'm like, God dang, y'all beat the horse in the ground. Yes, I understand. A lot of people hate it. A lot of people love it. But like, I still do. What really kills me and what really hurts my feelings is I can go fishing with my little boy or something. Let's just say an example. If I go and I catch a fish with my little boy, they're in the comments just freaking drilling me. Must have caught him on FFS. And I'm like, bro, come on, my dude.
Yeah, I've talked about it a lot, dude, since the Classic, since seeing what people threw Easton's way, just ridiculous. Bunch of grown men. I don't know how grown they are if they can type that kind of stuff about a kid. But I do want to. There's something I wrote in my notes. You're talking about 98 dragging around. I mean, you started your career professionally, I guess we would say, at the top level in 17. You won the Elite Series Rookie of the Year back then. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it didn't exist then. The bull catching bass for a while now, and all across the state of Alabama for a lot of years leading up to his professional career. That's been amazing, and he's one of 3 guys that have won multiple Bass Pro Tour events. The other 2 are named Ott Defoe and Jacob Wheeler. So he's going to be just fine. I loved your speech, man. As somebody that can be negative, I've been negative. I love that though. I love the angle, like, hey, stay out of my comments, which just invites the buzzards into your comments. Most of the time, they're like headed to comment on.
No, just trust me. I got a target on my back. As soon as let's say theoretically, I go to Chickamauga next tournament and I have a toughie. They're coming, buddy. They're coming. I mean, they got their arrows knocked right now, ready to just.
Yeah. The deal is, though, you can go, hey, man, I got 300,000 reasons to not give a damn about what you think.
Man.
It is hard, man. It's easier said than done. People are like, dude, don't worry about the comments. don't. And I get that a lot. People are like, quit talking about what people say in the comments. Don't worry about it. Move on. But it is, I think, harder than people realize when you're trying to do your best to educate fishing fans. Your YouTube stuff's great. You show your life. You share your family with the internet. You share your personality. You're trying your best to actually grow the sport, in my opinion. That is what you do on a daily basis, and you do a damn good job of it. Yeah. And then you have just these mountains of negativity. It sucks.
It does. It's unfortunate. And I feel like this is an indication of like what social media and just what the world is about right now. And I'm like, my goodness, man, dude, it's 70 degrees. It's sunny. It's springtime. It's beautiful.
Turkeys are gobbling.
Turkeys are gobbling. There's bees, but like life is good. The good Lord has blessed us with another day. Can we bring something positive out of our day? But no, let's tear people down. Is that more fun? It's dirty laundry. Okay. We're talking Don Henley, dirty laundry. People love it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I hate it. I hate it. I'm not gonna deal with it straight up. I never thought I'd say that. I told Justin Lucas yesterday, and I don't mean to go on and on, but I told Lucas, I never thought that someone would have to like hold the torch for positivity. What? So I'm going to lead the path of positivity?
Hey, look, I did a show 2 weeks ago, Dustin, where I talked about the negativity. And I said, look, as someone that has been negative on things, as someone that has shared his opinion, I said, I want to apologize for that because where we are is not okay.
No.
And all these, I've been doing this show for 8 years now, and there's a lot of new people trying to do podcasts and videos. And so they're desperate. They're desperate to get their names out there at all costs. Mm-hmm. And I said, if I've led to any of that, I want to apologize for that too.
Yeah.
But I feel like out of 300 and whatever episodes of this show, there's been way more positivity than negativity, but people focused on the negative, obviously.
Sure.
And I got that thrown in my face in the car. Dude, you've been negative. I said, if you'll go back and listen to the 20-minute mark, bud, I said I've been negative. I'm admitting I've been negative. I am trying to say we are at a very bad spot for our sport. And I think what I hate is people say cheater box or they say this or that. If you've got a casual fan tuning in that doesn't understand, they're like, wait, Dustin Connell's a cheater? Cheater box? You know what I mean? Like, I hate that terminology being used like it's being used so much.
Well, here's the thing also. I will be first to admit, and I will take accountability. We do YouTube all the time. And right when things kind of got started and there was some crying and whining and going on about stuff, I got on my YouTube, and I will be honest, every now and then I'd get on there and say, oh, they're going to be crying about this. And like, I wasn't necessarily negative, but I do see both sides. I see both sides. And the older I get, the more I realize everyone has different opinions, and I respect that. That's what I want to explain to everybody. Like, let's just respect and love one another. We're all brothers in the same game. Let's just love one another, man. If you don't agree, it's like politics. I got family members that see differently. Everybody does. I don't talk about it with them. And if they do, I just respect them and we move along, man. And we're here it's a recreational space. Like, there's people that launch their boat to go enjoy. They do this to enjoy it. Let's just enjoy it.
Yep. I've said it a million times, man. If you want to go down the bank and throw a chartreuse, some white Strike King spinnerbait you bought at Walmart till the blades fall off of it every single time you go bass fishing, and that's what brings you joy, guess what, buddy? Have at it. If you want,
but don't hate on me that I'm out in the middle catching 40 of them.
That's right. That's right. And at the same time, if you want to put 9 screens on your boat and you want to show me how you got them all tuned up so you could go and catch your bass, guess what? I'm going to high five you and say, that's pretty badass that you figured that out too. I love watching people catch bass. I love catching bass. I love what we've learned through forward facing sonar. I like watching a dude go down the bank and fish laydowns too.
That is cool. That's cool.
It's okay. I just wish we get to a point where if it's not your opinion, you've got to make sure everybody knows that they suck because
God dang, man.
I just hope we don't get to a point. You talked about those tariffs earlier. I just hope we don't get to a point where people are keying live scope and active target screens like Teslas.
Good grief. We're almost to that point. We're going to roll up to the boat ramp and they're going to have a BB gun shooting screens or something. I'm like, it'll smooth out. We're in a transition right now. I think that things are already starting to smooth a little bit. I can kind of feel the air, Major League Fishing did a good job on doing the one period.
That's
but
great.
Here's my thing, and I'm not even being biased toward Major League Fishing or Bass or anybody. There's going to be times where that don't play. Skeet Reese won last year. Zach Burge won last year, old school fishing, and there's going to be a time and place for everything. Let's just embrace the times that it works and embrace the times that it don't.
That's
there
right.
So
no, I love the format change. I've said that a ton since the rule came out. You know, obviously I work for NPFL. They went hard the other way, and it's working. And it's working for them. It's cool. Mm-hmm. I commentate. I'll be at Lake Norman this week commentating, and it's great for them. Now, I wanted to see more of a hybrid. That's actually something I talked to them about. Hey, let's do 3 events with, 3 events without. Let's try something like that, something a little different. But with Major League Fishing format, they've got a little bit more flexibility with the periods, and I think they could not have picked a better way to do it. Now, we've seen some guys, and I can't even imagine competing in those events, and you see a dude in 2.5 hours. Like, buddy, some of these bass that are getting caught in one period, that's more bass than a lot of people catching their whole day's like year of bass fishing. Like, that's hard to wrap your head around the number.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. So I'll say this. I also, and I don't want to beat a dead horse like we were saying earlier, but I don't want to let's not forget, man, the youth that are coming up. Like, I feel like bass fishing is more or less a conservative sport. It just is. And it's I don't want to just forget these. There's droves of up and coming 12 and 15 and 18-year-old kids that just love bass fishing, dude. High school fishing just came out of nowhere, just blown up. They got a high school tournament on Lake Jordan this weekend. They got one on Logan Martin. They're everywhere. And that is a great, great deal. You don't know why? That's the future fishermen. That's the people that are going to hold the torch when we're gone. Yep. And I don't want to forget about them guys. And I just want to put myself and a lot of guys in their position. Bro, stuff's been around 5 years. If you're 17, that's all you've ever known.
That's right. That's right.
You were 12 years old whenever it came out, and then now you're 17. It's like, okay, this is the standard, but it's not. And there'll be times that they have to really dial in on a lot of other techniques. But I try to see both ends. But anyway, I don't want to talk about it forever.
No, I'm good with it, man. I'm with you. There's a lot of dang sure a lot more youth than when you were coming up, and you were in the college fishing stuff. But you're 6 years younger than me, but there wasn't a bunch of dude. When I was 12 to 17, I didn't know anybody at bass fish tournments other than me.
Fishing was not cool when I was in high school. People used to laugh at me. Yeah,
same, man, same. And now it's funny. My local high school's got a 20 teams in the high school team. I mean, it's crazy. I went to the University of North Alabama. Nobody bass. I didn't know anybody down there. I knew a bunch of old men that fish Tuesday nighters against and stuff, but anybody at school that fished much. And now they got one of the most successful bass fishing teams. Montevallo down your way, University of Alabama, Auburn. I mean, it's just crazy to see that youth movement now be as big as it is.
It's cool. It is. It's really cool. I looked out in that crowd the other day after I won that tournament, and there were so many young guys out there, and I'm like, let's go back to the positive side. That is so healthy and so refreshing to see.
Yep.
Cause those kids ain't out there getting in trouble. They love being in the outdoors, and that's what it's all about. We're bringing more people into the sport, and if a little black box brings more people in the sport and keeps people out of trouble, I'm cool with it.
So be it. So
So be it.
Hey, the way I see it a little bit, and I may get slapped for saying this, but we worry about these fish and we all catch and release and we do these things. And you know what? I feel like they were put here for us to catch. So as long as we're being great conservationists and we're turning them loose like we all do, who cares how we catch them? That's what I don't understand. Ban hooks. That's a post I made. Hooks. We're hurting these fish in the face. Now we sound like PETA. Like, what are we doing?
Oh, the best ones is whenever you go out there and we catch them. I've seen comments below. They're like, "Y'all are devastating the fisheries." And I'm like, none of them died.
So we just put him back. I just put him right back.
So I talked to, I think his last name is Mr. Abernathy. I'm not really sure, but he was with the conservation of state of Alabama. And we got to talking about all that. And I just told him, I was like, I'm going to be honest. I think we're past the days of guys coming in with stringers of 30 fish.
That's right.
And eating them suckers. Crappie, they probably get their heads knocked off.
Oh, yeah.
I will go catch something and do that. But bass, not so much, man. It's a catch and release sport for the most part, and it's awesome. And we have this is a renewable resource. And if we manage it right and let these fish go back and potentially do some stocking programs, these suckers will thrive.
I agree. And we see that all over the country. States like Texas, what they're doing with their stocking programs. And dude, Texas fish get their heads caved in on a daily basis by amazing fishermen. And you look at what those fisheries still kick out. It's insane. I think we're in a really good spot fishery wise. Look at Gunnersville, dude. You know how much pressure that pond gets? Holy crap. What are you talking about? There's a Clear Lake, one bass open going on right now, and they have, I forget how many bags, over 20. They have 38 pounds was leading that joke. I mean, dude, fisheries
so cool.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
Fisheries are in good shape. All right, I want to ask you this, kind of as we wind down here. You went to the University of Alabama. Obviously, you're a Bama boy, born and raised. But what does it feel like for you, or have you even thought about this, that you've won these 3 big events with MLF, 3 REDCREST events and a Smith Lake BPT, but you've won 4 major events in your home state, and you are representing a long, long, long line of absolute stone cold fish catchers in that state. Because I'll put the Bama boys against anybody. And you know the ones I'm talking about. There's a long list, and I'm not going to start naming them because I'll leave somebody out, and I don't want to do that. But how does that make you feel?
So I'll make this quick, but I have fished with Chris Rutland. I've fished with some of these anglers around here, Russ Lane, and I will say this: the only way that you're ever going to get better at any sport is you get beat by the best, because that's the people. And I remember when Flynn Gerald used to have all the Airport Marine solos.
Mm-hmm.
I launched my boat on Lay Lake, and I had a 16-foot boat. I was 16 years old. I didn't have enough money to do anything. I would go up there, and I'd pay my money on them airport solos. I think it was on a Wednesday. And, dude, they'd have 70 boats. Shoot, I'd have Jamie Horton. We'd have Jamie Horton in there. We'd have freaking Chris Deal. We had Alan Yarborough, all these daggone hammers.
George Crane probably in there.
Yes, sir. And I remember I would go in there, and if I got a check, it was a win in that deal. And I've been fishing against these guys my whole life. And I've learned so much in the losses. That's the thing, man. When you go out there and you lose, you can get mad all you want, but learn what went wrong. And I've been fortunate to fish against great fishermen and just learn a lot of different techniques. And I take a lot of pride in winning these tournaments around here, because there's a lot of guys that I promise you they could be right with my position and they'd be smashing. don't think that Chris and Mark McKeag and all these guys from Alabama can't come out here and freaking stomp them.
Yeah.
I know they can, but they're they got families, and it's the life on the road is hard. It is, and you already know did it. You did it. But I take a lot of pride, man. It's something I can hang my hat on, and I'm just very grateful and thankful to do that in the state of Alabama. I don't know what it is about here. I just feel at home. I've fished these lakes. I know them. I don't consider myself local on Gunnersville.
Yeah.
But I just hope they have a REDCREST in Alabama every year.
You're gonna start campaigning for that now. Politics.
Yeah, dude. I'm about to go down to Montgomery down here, and we're gonna do some lobbying, man. We got to get some money.
I'm gonna see you on Fox News this afternoon with a sign in Montgomery. bring all bass fishing to Alabama.
Picket signs in Montgomery. Come back for REDCREST. Come back.
But yeah, as long as it's Coosa River next, right? Let's go.
Yeah, man.
Go back to the Coosa.
Come back to Logan or something.
Dude, Logan's one of those ponds that NPFL is going there later this year. It's going to be a little grimy, September. But dude, I've worked several Alabama bass trails there now, and I hadn't fished it in a number of years. And that place is so freaking amazing. Like it just is so full of bass, dude.
Yeah,
I hope Coosa does that.
It's so cool. I can't wait to go. I hadn't fished on Logan in a long time, but we're going. Chickamauga's next.
Yeah,
we're going to that next, and Nickajack, Chickamauga / Nickajack, and just for old time's sake, next month I might go practice on Nickajack and just ride down to the dam and just look over and just be like,
they got some concrete around there.
Yeah, they do. Oh, it'll be wrapped up in that one.
Oh, shoot, yeah. Do you think? I mean, is Wheeler? I mean, is everybody just going? We're just going to give Jacob that one.
I'm not.
I know you ain't.
I told Jacob the other day. I was like, "All right, look, man. I know that you're about to wreak havoc in this next tournament." But just save a few for me, save a few for some other guys. Let them reel in a couple. Don't win by like 80 pounds. Win by like 40, okay?
Yeah, just back off a little bit. Back off the front.
So I think that Jacob could not even practice and probably do very, very good in that tournament. So
yeah, he stays pretty dialed over there. All right, last thing. Speaking of Jacob, do the boys from Crush City, have they talked to y'all? Are they going to build a statue of y'all at any point holding up freeloaders and mooch minnows? Because, son, they got to be thinking that Kyle Wood, DQ, the whole crew down there, they got to be thinking, we should just go ahead and put a bronze DC statue right out here holding his little freeloader on his scrounger.
That's so funny. I talked to Dan yesterday. They just texted me a while ago, and we're always chatting and trying to come up with new things and new ideas, and those guys are awesome. They were calling, and Dan's tearing up and this and that, and like they're like family. The best move that ever happened to me that I got brought onto that team. Truly, game changer for me. They're so cool, and just Jacob's being my best friend, and he's that dude is a genius when it comes to making baits. But, yeah, those guys are awesome. It's cool to have that team behind you, and also it's really cool to literally use every bait on my rod is their baits.
Yeah.
You see a lot of guys hiding baits like, oh, I can't show this one. Dude, I got every single rod, every rod I got on there has got Rapala bait, so it's cool. It is.
Very cool. And you got some new ones coming. There's whispers of that. I may have talked to Mr. DQ and Kyle Wood about.
I wish I had some of those. We're going to talk about them soon, but I wish I'd have had some the other day.
Yeah, I bet.
So
I don't know that it would affect the outcome very much though, because you couldn't do a lot better than you did. But
right, yeah, it'll be cool to see that kind of stuff come out. I think they're coming out at ICAST.
Yep, that's what I hear. I'm looking forward to it. Well, DC, I appreciate you, dude. Proud for you. Too cool, man. Can't never take it away from you. 3 of those jokers, 2 back to back. Like it's just insane. And I'm sorry, there's been some negativity clouds floating around fishing, because we need to be talking about that story.
Yeah, let's go to bat against this and try to bring out the positive, the joy. Let's catch one. Let's smile. Let's laugh one time. Yeah. Let's grab the fish and smell him and laugh about it.
Yes.
Let's do it. You know, so anyway, I will be glad to take the charge in that. And then to end on this, I still am mind blown at all the support that everyone has had throughout the last few days. So thank you guys that follow along for us. Thank you for following Luke and Gunnersville. Unbelievable. Freaking ran 70 miles and won the tournament. Crazy.
You were the king of Gville, and that lake is the king of bass fishing in most people's eyes, I would say. I mean, especially tournament bass fishing, man. And you 300K and another trophy. You gonna have to build another house for all the damn hardware.
God almighty. Well, buddy. Well, I appreciate you having me, and hopefully we talk again soon.
No doubt about it. Dustin Connell, everybody. Well, that's all she wrote with Dustin Connell, and I appreciate DC coming on the show and spreading some of that positive thinking that he's got going on these days, and really enjoyed that conversation, man. I always do. DC is one of those guys that I don't watch a ton of fishing stuff on YouTube, but he's one of the channels that I certainly enjoy. Big old personality, obviously a fish catcher, and always a pleasure to chop it up with him here on LBL. And I know a lot of you low-lifers were requesting that, so I hope you enjoyed the conversation there with old Dustin Connell, 3-time REDCREST champion. Crazy good tournament for him, and a lot of fun to watch, and always a lot of fun to talk to. So appreciate that. Hope you all get to join us with NPFL this week. The 17th and 18th, we'll be going live, myself and Fat Cat Newton. And then Saturday, I'll be in Gadsden, Alabama for Lake Neely Henry and the good old Coosa River, holding up some of them spotted bass on stage, I'm sure, with some of the ABT North competitors. And we'll be doing live coverage that morning with the Alabama Bass Trail, myself, Jason Durant, and Darian Craig, and Miss Kay. So plenty of opportunities to watch some bass fishing this week. We'll take you out with some Biloxi Blues. And I'm going to start wrapping my head around this busy week coming up. Thank y'all so much for everything. Appreciate each and every one of you. We'll see y'all next week. See you.
I never could make it last. Spanish moss and Civil War ghosts, well, I'm going to leave them in the past. Any direction, Lord, I'll be fine. It don't matter east or west. North, south, wherever the wind blows, I'm leaving those burdens at rest. This highway, it does not know my name, and I don't care, no, I don't care. Heading my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires and a spare. Just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get